Thanks, Ryan. That was amazing. I'm Norm from Tested. You know, at Tested, we deal a lot with technology. We're a really big fan of people who make things, makers. And that's why I'm super excited to have here with me Harrison Cricks from Volpin Props. You are Volpin Props.
I am.
What do you do?
I make cool stuff.
Cool stuff?
I make cool stuff. That should be the explanation I give to everybody. A couple months ago, I quit my job and I do things like this full time now.
You made this. You made these.
I made all of these. Yes.
From scratch.
From scratch.
How the hell did you do that?
Mostly start with you know, Google. Google's everything. Google is how you learn. You know?
Okay.
There's a bunch of fan communities, forums.
Yeah.
Just research and research, man.
These are guns from Mass Effect. If you didn't realize,
Yes. The N7 rifle.
M8 rifle. So this looks exactly like the gun in the game. Commander Shepard has that.
Well, thank you. That's the goal.
We can get a close-up shot of this. It looks
If we're
so
gonna
cool.
we're gonna make it cooler. Now it's cooler.
It lights up! Oh my god! So how did you make this? How did you start?
Well, that one is actually mostly wood.
Okay.
You know, I start off with cheap materials like MDF at low budget. That one was kind of a personal challenge to myself to see if I could make something with scraps from around my shop. So this was all made with parts I had laying around, pieces of wood, pieces of styrene,
Did
pieces
you
of
start
PVC.
gluing wood together? I mean, did you
Well,
design
no.
it in a computer
Yeah,
first?
I just take a whole bunch of glue and wood, and then that happens.
Yeah.
That's no.
Simple enough.
I make all my designs in Adobe Illustrator, just 2D flats. Transfer those onto larger paneled pieces like this, and then spend about a week with a sander and a Dremel and files, and then I come out of the shop covered in dust with one of these. That's the long and short of it. I detail all my builds, so if anybody's interested in actually seeing very lengthy descriptions of how this comes to be,
It's on your blog.
you can go to my blog, and I do a step-by-step of everything. I photograph everything. I have a lot of documentation.
So you specialize right now in video games.
Props. Video game props. People
This is like the newest one you did?
Right. This is from Mass Effect 3.
It's not even out yet. The game's not even out yet. How did you get the game model for this?
The guys from BioWare actually sent me an email, and they said, we'd like you to make one of the guns from our DLCs, the N7 rifle, which is part of the N7 pack. And they sent me all of the game art, the files, and they said, you know, go nuts on it. We'd like 2 of them. This one is actually a personal piece. I made it for myself. You can tell because it's red. They don't have a red one in the game, but I love red. So yeah, that's you know, I've had some great responses from the community and from the people who make the games, which is great.
You got to take a look at the weathering. It looks like it's metal. Like the way you've painted it looks like it's used and it has a good heft to it. So this one's wood. This one's resin.
This one's plastic.
Or the plastic. And then what is this?
This is actually, and if anybody kind of wants to get into prop making, this is a fantastic first project. This is the Atom syringe from BioShock, modeled after the one that was in the first game. This one is actually a vintage gasoline pump handle. So most of the work kind of done for me. Then PVC wood for the long barrel. Mason jar for the atom chamber, and it's, you know, this one took me about a week to do. So something like this is actually a great project for somebody who kind of just wants to get into things and has never really done anything before.
How did you learn to do this? I mean,
self-taught, really. I spent some time in school as a furniture design major.
Furniture
to guns. You know, it's a lot more interesting way to mess around and play with wood and stuff. And you know,
practice over time. What was the first thing you made?
I made a terrible copy of Link's shield from Legend of Zelda from Twilight Princess, and I made my wife a Midna helmet, right?
Oh, okay.
And those two went out. We went to Halloween. We had some fun. Some people were like, "Hey, you should go to a con." We did. It was great. And then we went, "Oh, well, let's see if we can do some more stuff." Then Portal came out.
Yeah.
Then I made the Portal gun, and then
I'm sure
everybody,
you've seen that.
Everybody was like,
"Hey,
let's make some more Portal guns."
Picture of that, yeah.
Yeah. And the second one in that photo, the one before, the orange one is actually installed at Valve's offices right now. So it's, you know, I've had some. They called me up. They're like, "We want one, and we will pay you for it," which is even better. So it was, too. Yeah. I did the GLaDOS potato as well. She speaks, so there's buttons inside there, and she'll talk to you. You know, it's so much fun doing this stuff, and now that I can call it my actual job, it's so much better.
Full time, and you said like game companies have come to you, like Valve and BioWare, and they're totally okay with you making this stuff.
I have never had a negative response from an intellectual property rights holder.
Okay.
So I make the stuff, I put it out there, and people, you know, I've gotten emails from people, and they're like, "We saw what you did, we love it." You know, 9 times out of 10, they just want one for their offices.
Yeah.
The guys at Bethesda, same thing. They wanted a laser rifle.
Right. You did the Fallout 3.
The Fallout 3 laser rifle, and that's installed at their office.
Oh, so what's your next project? I mean, what other guns do you want to make?
You know, I just came back from Dragon Con, and I saw a whole bunch of people.
Big Dragon.
Yeah, Dragon Con's fantastic. In Atlanta, if you've never been, you should go. And there were a bunch of people in Garrus costumes from Mass Effect, and that, you know, his armor and the face sculpt. I really want to do that.
So you've done a Mass Effect armor yourself.
Yes, I did Commander Shepard's N7 armor.
What are your tips for making armor? I mean, like how is that metal? Is it heavy to wear?
No, good artists create, great artists steal. My concept for the armor was borrowed from a guy named David, and David's last name is escaping me right now, and I'm so sorry, David. But he came up with this concept of using foam floor mats, and it's actually these floor tiles you put in your garage. Whole thing's made out of that. It's cheap, it's lightweight, it's fantastic.
And you just cut it and...
Yeah, cut it, glue it. You know, it takes really well to stuff like hot glue and acrylic paint, cheap materials, and it's really lightweight, fantastic to use. A lot of guys, they'll make stuff out of paper craft. Pepakura is what they call it. A lot of the Halo guys are into that. That's another thing to get into if you're not into sculpting, because a lot of it's basically just folded paper.
Yeah. So what's your workshop look like? Are you just do this out of your garage? Do you rent space?
I am not a professional by any stretch of the imagination. I have half a garage that I push my car out of whenever I need to work, and I've got, you know, some tables I found free off of Craigslist, and I've got some tools. Most of them are cheap. I've got one really nice bandsaw, but outside of that, it's all Harbor Freight crap mostly.
I think we have some footage
the video right here.
garage.
This is a vacuum forming machine I built out of an old toaster oven and my parents' telephone table. So yeah, I mean, it's about making your own tools. This right here is a leg armor that I made for a friend of mine.
So what are you doing right here?
Well, it's vacuum formed styrene. So the box up top is actually an oven. So you slide the plastic up there, it gets hot, and then you push it down and suck all the air out from underneath it. So what you're left with is a hollow piece that you can make armor out of. So that's a really nice way to make pieces lightweight, fast. Unfortunately, it requires you to make your own vacuum former, but I made that one for about $100. It works really well too.
It's really like DIY.
Yeah, totally DIY. I came up with a few concepts of my own about how to do it. I kind of copied a few other people, but you know, a lot of this stuff, like a vacuum forming machine, is things you can make yourself.
Yeah.
So that's one of my most used tools, and I absolutely love that thing.
The resources you use. I mean, is there a good community?
Yeah. There's a community out there called the Replica Props Forum. It's the RPF, therpf.com.
I'm just gonna hold this while you talk.
Yeah, go ahead. No,
right.
you feel so much cooler.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I just want to. If I could, I'd walk around with these, but it's not really advisable.
Yeah. So community.
The RPF is a good one. There's another one called the 405th, which is centered mostly around Halo props and costuming. And then there's another one called cosplay.com, and that's kind of good for people who just want to get into the hobby.
Yeah.
You know, starting points, really, you know, intro level stuff. The guys at the RPF are the people who do this sort of stuff for a living, industry professionals. They know the tips and tricks. And that's where I learned a lot of this stuff.
So people like work for Weta.
Yeah, actually Weta has an account on there, and they'll post from time to time about their upcoming projects.
Have you heard from them?
Never have, no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's you know, one of like the far off dreams, and I'd love to, but you know, never heard from that. Never heard from Sam Winston, but again, I'm still kind of just, you know, feeling my way through
good
this.
enough for movies.
Thank you.
It's actually more detail than what you'd find in movies.
Yeah, that's something I've been told a lot. Is because in movies people can kind of cheat. You know, they don't have to get really exacting, and on the video you can see me here like filling in super tiny imperfections. Never show up in a movie, right?
Right.
But if you're going to be holding this thing and looking at it from, you know, a foot 6 inches away, you're going to be able to see a little dent, little ding, all that sort of stuff. And you know, on a weathered rifle like this, I can cheat a fair bit of it, but I still like it to look as good as possible.
So this is an original, like the M8.
The M8
that's
is
made
an
of
original.
wood, but once you've made a cast for it, you can make them pretty quick. Like this one took a month for you to make.
That one took about 3 weeks. This one here is, like I said, all cast resin parts.
Yeah.
So spitting out another copy of one of these takes somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 weeks, or you know, a week and a half if I'm really cranking on it. So it does speed up the process considerably. So I don't have to resculpt the whole thing from scratch.
How many can you build with one mold before the mold gets bad?
Well, actually, I've made some molds, and I can show you something else that I've got this kind of fancy down here. Of the, I've done some helmets, Daft Punk helmets, if people are familiar.
This is the most exciting thing ever.
And I brought my Tomas helmet here, Tomas from Daft Punk. And I just need to, could you put that battery up there? You can rest that on the table. And I'm going to go ahead and turn Thomas on here, if I can get to the switch. So this is my Tomas helmet from Daft Punk. It's got an Arduino system in it, so it's programmable. You can scroll different things across the LED matrix. This is all self-taught stuff.
Make it say tested. Make it say tested.com.
But you got to pay me for ad space, man. Come on.
Fair enough.
Hold on. I can do some of my own There we go. Now,
all right.
you guys brought me on here. I have to
Very nice.
self-advertise. So you were talking about how many molds I can get.
Yeah.
I've actually sold a bunch of blank castings of my Daft Punk helmets, and one of them that I have, I've pulled about 48 castings out of it so far. The mold's still doing very well.
Awesome.
So something like this, I can get a lot of pulls out of it.
This one's chrome. So
this one's chrome.
You actually have to take it to a place to get
Yep.
chrome.
There's a shop out in Valencia, California called Creations in Chrome that does all my work for me.
Wow. Talk about the electronics in this, because
this is, like I said, all sort of self-taught stuff. Now, I can't take credit for the coding work. That's actually done by a friend of mine out in England named James Moss. And if you guys want to check him out, jamesmoss.co.uk, fantastic programmer. So what you see there is all the hardware, and that was a testing video I had. I designed all the chips myself, all the circuit boards. I designed the LED matrix. I soldered all the pieces myself, so all the hardware I take care of. This is all based on an Arduino system, and you can see that running right there.
Very familiar with Arduino.
The chips are Max chips. There's great tutorials on the Arduino website which teach you how to build this sort of stuff. So this is all, you know, I can't take complete credit for everything because basically I'm following the tutorials online that other people have come up with, and I'm just applying it to, you know, a shiny chrome helmet.
You can take credit for that.
I can take credit for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've made the other Daft Punk helmet.
I made the other Daft Punk helmet too.
I think we have photos of that. And that was actually one of the first helmets you made.
That was the first helmet I ever made. This guy, he commissioned it from me, and he said, "Hey, I want to know if you can make this." And I have no idea why he asked me to do that.
Right.
Because up until that point in time, the only thing I had in my portfolio was the portal gun.
Okay.
So he came and he's like, "I need this chrome helmet with a ton of lights," and I went, "Yeah, sure." And then a year and a half later, he actually got it. So it took me a little while to get it down. But this one, the chrome one, or the Tomas helmet, only took me about 4 months. So I am getting
only 4 months of time?
I am getting faster with it.
All right. And you can walk around Atlanta wearing this?
Yeah, I've actually got a photo shoot scheduled coming up with a friend of mine, this fantastic photographer, and we have a friend of ours who's going to be bringing a DeLorean to it. So it's going to be an epic shoot. I can't wait for that.
Mash up Daft Punk and DeLorean.
Yeah.
And so this is your full-time job. You make these not only for companies, but for individuals.
For individuals, yep.
So if people want to get a commission, they can contact you on your Facebook page or from your contact.
Facebook/Volpin Props, and then my website is volpinprops.blogspot.com.
I kind of want one of these.
So you can have your own fancy chrome helmet.
Let's get another shot of the helmet.
I will say right now, I am booked about 7 months in advance. And I have some cool corporate things coming up. I also do Child's Play charity auction every year.
So that's where you had the portal gun.
The portal gun was there, and I'll be doing that again this year.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Harrison. You wanted to give a shout out to your wife.
That's right.
Here. It's your anniversary.
Thank you for reminding me. It is my 11-year anniversary with my wife right now, and I missed my 10-year anniversary last year as well. So I have a very understanding wife, and I just want to say thank you.
This stuff is amazing. Thank you so much, Harrison.
Thanks
You're
for
going to be back
having me.
later, give a demonstration, so you want to tune in for that.
Yes.
And we're just going to go play with these props. Guns. They're guns.
Thanks, guys.